Hello there and welcome to Spartan Sports Report. I'm Justin Allegri. We have a great show for you here this week as we'll be joined by former women's basketball star at San Jose State, Ta'Rea Cunnigan, talking to us from abroad in Australia. We'll catch up with her. We'll also talk with San Jose State head coach Ron Carragher about the Utah game and the upcoming game this week against the Iowa State Cyclones. But first, let's head back into CEFCU Stadium for this week's highlights. Spartans at home against a Pac-12 opponent for the first time since 2006 as they host the Utah Utes. First possession of the game, the Spartans were on the move. Kenny Potter directs the drive with this 28-yard scramble run, setting up a San Jose State field goal to give them a 3-0 lead. It was 3-3 and the Spartan defense was playing very well. Nick Aurelia got a sack of Troy Williams, forcing a Utah punt. But on that punt, Tim Crowley attempted to pick up the rolling ball. It glances off of him and is recovered by the Utes. This ultimately led to a field goal, so Utah took a 6-3 lead. San Jose State would retake that lead. A few minutes into the second quarter, Kenny Potter connected to tight end Josh Oliver, and the Spartans were on top 10-6 after a long drive. Ensuing possession for Utah would be a quick strike, 4 plays, 75 yards. Troy McCormick was in from 16 out, giving Utah a lead they would not relinquish. I said the Spartan defense played well. It was first and goal from the 2 for Utah in the third quarter, but the Spartans stuffed the run game. Then Maurice McKnight cuts off a pass in the end zone, picking it off for his first interception of the season, and San Jose State was still within 10. Josh Love had to come into the game following an injury to Kenny Potter. He hit Zamor Ziegler on a screen pass, who did the rest, working his way 46 yards for the score. But still, the Spartans would fall 34-17 to the Utes. San Jose State allowed 10 sacks in the game. Kenny Potter took 7 of them and was 10 of 18 with an interception and a touchdown. Meanwhile, Tim Patrick of Utah had 121 yards receiving and a score, and freshman running back Zach Moss ran for 95 yards with a touchdown. Spartans dropped to 1-2 this season with a 34-17 loss to Utah. Time now for this week's LEXUS drive of the game. The drive begins near the end of the first quarter, and on 3rd and 8, Kenny Potter gets it to Trey Hartley for a nice catch and a pickup of 17 yards. After a penalty, Potter is flushed from the pocket and forced to throw it away into the stands, but he takes a big hit in doing so on the play. On 2nd and 1 from the 28-yard line, Potter takes the draw and hurries out to the left side, gaining 12 yards and setting up first down at the 16, but again takes another big hit at the end of the play. Potter then connects again to Trey Hartley, curling it upfields for an 8-yard pickup before being tackled at the 8. So the Spartans had a few shots to get into the end zone from close. Potter then off play action boots out to his right side, throws just out of the reach of tight end Billy Freeman, incomplete in the end zone. That's when Potter connects to tight end Josh Oliver for the 1-yard touchdown. Oliver's first catch of the year gave the Spartans a 10-6 lead. Overall, the drive lasted 15 plays, going 84 yards in 6 minutes and 26 seconds. The drive of the game is brought to you by your Northern California Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Time now for this week's San Jose Police Department Homegrown Spartan, and it's Maurice McKnight. The junior safety had 10 tackles and the goal line interception. He is this week's San Jose Police Department Homegrown Spartan. We'll take our first break here on Spartan Sports Report. When we return, we'll talk to the former basketball star Ta'Rea Cunnigan. That's to come after this.
We started with the class-leading RX. We gave it paddle shifters to help you command the road. A sport mode to help you control the road. And a sport-tuned suspension to help you connect with the road. The LEXUS RX F-Sport. This is the RX Elevated. See your Northern California Lexus dealer.
Welcome back here on Spartan Sports Report. We're now going to be joined by our special guest, From afar, it's Ta'Rea Cunnigan, the former San Jose State women's basketball player. She's down in Australia, in Adelaide, and she just finished up a season of basketball down there. Ta'Rea, thanks for joining us. How is Australia?
I'm doing great right now. A bit cold. It's about 7 degrees Celsius, which I am still unsure of the conversion rate, but I'm doing great. It's beautiful out here.
So why don't you go ahead and catch us up on what you've been doing and what the season was like down in Australia now that you just finished up?
Well, I came out here and right away started a basketball season out here with the team that's located in Adelaide. We started off pretty rough, but we got going and we ended up finishing second on the ladder, which they were second to last on the ladder last season. So we had a good run. We made it to playoffs. We unfortunately finished third, but nonetheless, we had a great run this season.
Tell us a little bit about the league and where you're going. Are you traveling a lot down in Australia because of the league, or is everybody close? And what's the competition like?
Well, all the teams are essentially located within Adelaide. I'd say the furthest team is maybe about 45 minutes out, so it's pretty local in terms of every gym is probably within no more than 30 to 45 minutes of each other.
So moving across the country is one thing, but halfway across the world is certainly something else. What is it like to first of all move overseas to play hoops, but second of all moving so far away?
At first, I was really scared to come out here, especially after I retired and hung my shoes up and started working full time. But it's been so much fun to actually put my shoes back on and be able to travel and see the world and come play basketball here and do what I love. But the people here are lovely. The food is amazing. Oh my goodness. Which they're known for their food here. So that's been great. Some of the freshest seafood I've had, some of the freshest veggies and fruit that I've had. It's been really nice. I got to hold a koala. I got to feed kangaroos. I've seen. I went on a hike and saw the whole top part where you can look over the entire city. It's been lovely, really.
So outside of what you've been doing down there, what do you need to work on moving forward in your career?
Some things I want to focus on. I need to get my 3 point percentage back up. It was pretty ugly this year. But you don't need to take as many threes when you can get to the basket. So I was fortunate to still be able to have that tool and be able to attack the rim with that same aggression that I've had in the past. Um, but I think now, in order for me to continue playing on to the next level, I definitely need to finally accept transitioning to a point guard. So that'll be what I'll be primarily focusing on during the off season. Really working on is transitioning my skills from a wing player to more of a point guard position, and how I'll incorporate running the point and still operating within my game as well.
So you mentioned moving to the point guard position. Is that something that you need to work on with the other personnel on your team just to understand where they are as players and how you need to interact with them on the court and how you need to get them the ball?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a big job for a point guard to have, is being able to know your personnel. You have to know what they can do and where their sweet spots are on the court, how to get them the ball properly for them to get the best look at the basket. And like I said, you may have a wing player that likes to shoot threes, so you need to find a way to get them open for a three. Whereas you may have a slashing wing who likes to get to the rim or likes to get the ball off of cuts, so you got to be able to find them off the cuts, find them off the reads. And so, yeah, from playing from experience where I'm more of a slashing, likes to get it to the rim, likes to get it off cuts. I think I'll be able to have that knowledge already on how to be able to find them, so that part won't be as difficult. Whereas it's the other aspects of things and having to bring the ball up and start the offense.
So how many games did you play in this season? And to add on to that, the length of time you're down there, and I know you had some injuries, how is the body holding up after that season?
Uh, we actually played about 23 games. So that was good. It's not as many games as the college season, but body feels great. It's my Achilles that I was most concerned with after, having being diagnosed with Achilles tendinosis. Um, I did need that time off. It helped significantly. I feel better than what I did when I was playing in college.
Now that the season's over, are you staying in Australia? Are you going to come back stateside? What's the plan in the near future for you?
As of right now, yes, I'll be here in Adelaide. Just because I miss my family. Don't get me wrong, but right now, I have a bit of a setup going here. Whereas, when I left San Jose, I gave up my townhouse, quit my job and did all that. So, whereas here, I have more of a foundation to work from. So, until something comes up, I'll be out here in Australia.
Now, I'm sure you're aware of this, but the San Jose State women's basketball team, they're playing a tournament in Hawaii this fall. So if you are staying down in Australia, you're going to make that quick flight over to Hawaii to come check out some San Jose State basketball?
I would love to. I've been trying to get to Hawaii since I was a freshman. So, I was devastated when we didn't do the Hawaii tournament my junior year of college. So, that is a 6-hour flight, and they actually have cheap return flights there. So, hey, you guys just might see me.
Well, Ta'Rea, it was great catching up with you. I'm so happy to hear you're doing well down there, and we certainly appreciate all the time that you gave us today.
Oh, no, it's been a pleasure. I miss everybody. I couldn't say no to my alma mater. So good luck and go Spartans.
All right, thanks again, Ta'Rea. That's former San Jose State women's basketball player Ta'Rea Cunnigan. We'll take another break here on Spartan Sports Report. We'll talk with Coach Carragher after this.
The 2016 Nissan Altima. An IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus. With forward emergency braking that could stop for you. Take on sudden stops. Get to your local Nissan store today and save up to $4,250 on Altima, or get a low $129 per month lease on Sentra. Get to Nissan, proud partner of the San Jose State Spartans.
Playing high school and college basketball taught me the value of teamwork while learning leadership and problem-solving skills. Sports are an excellent way for kids to prepare for the real world, as well as the importance of staying physically fit. I use these skills every day in my job as an officer with the San Jose Police Department. Being a police officer allows me to use what I have learned while serving my community.
View job opportunities and apply at sjpdu.com. That's sjpdyu.com.
Welcome back here on Spartan Sports Report. We're now joined by San Jose State head coach Ron Carragher. And let's talk a little bit about Utah here, because there were a lot of good things in this game for San Jose State, especially against such a tough team. First and foremost, I thought the defense played well. I know the 34 points, but overall, especially in the red zone, this defense played very well.
Yeah, I agree. They had a never quit, never give up mentality. And even when Utah had driven down, just kept competing, created. Maurice McKnight had a great interception there. After a long Utah run, Trayvon Bieria got in there and stripped the football out. And I think they played hard. It wasn't flawless by any means, but they played hard and did a good job. And, even though they put 34 points on the board, let's remember 17 of those came off turnovers that we gifted them a shorter field. So all in all, I was encouraged with the defensive performance.
Well, now since you brought that up real quick before we go back to defense, the turnovers, and one of them kind of just glaring to me. Tim Crawley, just a poor job. And so we talked about it in the first game of the year. I thought the decision making would be better from him, but he was backpedaling. He was trying to catch up to it's just another odd play.
The whole objective of the punt return team is to get the ball back to the offense. And even a rolling ball, it's still not worth it to try and get in the way or field it unless you're really certain it's comes with an easy high hopper type of ball, then get it. But by all means, it wasn't. And so Timmy did do that. So we went with Ty Cottrell after that point. And it was good to see Ty look very confident out there and looked like he's fully capable of handling that position.
Well, then let's go back to the defense and red zone particularly. In years past, the Spartans have struggled in the red zone defensively.
Right.
What was so much better? Because this is an offense that does score a lot in the red zone.
Yeah, I think it's a couple tackle for losses that were super big that we got them pinned back. We had a sack. We played good man-to-man coverage and created a quarterback who had to hurry the ball in the interception. Yeah. So a combination of things from pressure on the quarterback to playing good coverage and actually being able to get that turnover. So it was big. It took momentum away from them about to score and gave it back to the Spartans.
And it was also the defensive line, too. We talk so much about Frank Ginn and Maurice McKnight, those guys always making the big tackles for this team and being high on the tackle list. But it's nice to see Aurelia in a game where he needed to make some plays. Yeah. He was one of the leaders on the defense.
Yeah, he was. I was encouraged, Nick, and we named him a team captain prior to the game. With Christian out, we've been able to rotate the defensive captains each week, and Nick stepped up and had a big game, put pressure. I believe he had a sack in there as well, so he did a good job. He overpowered their tackle one play to get pressure in the rush throw, so he played very well.
And that was key, too, because we talked about wearing down the defensive line, wearing down against that big offensive line unit for Utah. Didn't seem like that was the case.
No, I think our guys kept playing hard, and the important thing was to play with leverage, to play, be gap sound, and stay square. And all in all, our run fits were very well, and I think that's what kept them in check. Even though Justin, at the end of the day, they rushed for 200 yards, but 150 of those were on 7 carries. So, as coach, you look back, if we can clean up those 7 carries, the other 23 carries for 50 yards, that's pretty darn good from our defense. So those are little tidbits we can build upon.
I know you mentioned Trayvon Bieria too, and we talk a lot about the pursuit and keeping disciplined and things like that. There was a big play for Utah, but Trayvon stayed disciplined. The offensive player stayed on his feet, and he stripped the ball out of it.
He
so
did.
That's something you have to love to see.
Oh, you love it. Yeah, relentless effort, and that's their Coach English's big emphasis on the defensive side of the ball is that effort and determination to strip the football or tip the football and create those turnovers. So I credit Trayvon for doing that, and the hustle of the other players to be in position to recover the ball.
Well, quarterback Kenny Potter, I know he tried to make a lot of big plays. He was under a lot of pressure in this game. Two-part question here. How is his injury status? Because he had to come out of the game.
Right.
And do we have a controversy at the quarterback position?
Well, yeah, Kenny's injury, he suffered a contusion, a deep bruise in his leg, and it just, even though he came back a series later and said, I'm ready to go, he wanted to go back in. Just feel like if you take that element away from Kenny, that's hinders him in his ability. And so with the score what it was and getting late in the third quarter, we thought, what a good chance to put in our backup, Josh Love, and see what he did. And Josh performed admirably. There's some things he can clean up that we go back and watch the film, but I thought he threw the ball with confidence. He made some very good throws, had a couple drops mixed in there that would have helped. Threw a nice screen pass to Zamora for a touchdown. But no, there's not a quarterback controversy. Kenny's our guy. He's been proven through thick and thin and through battles and has that experience. And yeah, there's areas that he's going to continue to improve. But he's such a competitor and so determined that I have no doubt that he will continue to come along this year. And let's get him healthy. And the good news is Josh Love got some great experience, so that if he's called upon down the road, he'll be able to step in and will have been there and done that.
Yeah, that's the silver lining in that whole situation. The other side of it too, it seemed like their scheme was to put Kenny Potter on the turf as much as they could in this game, and they were succeeding at it.
They did in many ways. You start with the twisting, blitzing from the linebackers coming, but also just a simple 5-man rush. It seemed to collapse the pocket, and Kenny was throwing off his back foot a couple times and not able to get everything into it. It was tough. So we've got to improve our protection up front and do a better job of that. But really, it is shared by everyone. The pass protection, the 10 sacks. So receivers got to get open in a timely manner. The backs and tight ends have to do a good job in their pass protection responsibilities. Offensive line has to be firmer up front. All those things add up to protection.
All right, we'll take a quick break here with Coach Carragher. We'll talk Iowa State when we return on Spartan Sports Report.
Honoring all-around excellence in men's and women's collegiate competition. Every division, every sport, the Learfield Directors Cup. The prestigious award continues its reign as the crowning achievement in college athletics. To follow your favorite team, like us on Facebook, find us online and on Twitter. The Learfield Directors Cup.
We started with the class-leading RX. We gave it paddle shifters to help you command the road. A sport mode to help you control the road. And a sport-tuned suspension to help you connect with the road. The LEXUS RX F-Sport. This is the RX Elevated. See your Northern California Lexus dealer.
Welcome back here on Spartan Sports Report. We're continuing to talk with San Jose State head coach Ron Carragher. Now we preview the Iowa State game, Coach. And Iowa State, a team kind of struggling to find themselves, I think, early in the season. First-year head coach, 0-3 team, the first time since the late 90s they're 0-3. And they are trying to find themselves at this point in the season.
Yeah, definitely trying to find their identity. And a new coaching staff comes in, brings in a proven scheme. At Toledo, Coach Matt Campbell did a great job. They competed for the conference championship there, several postseason bursts. And so it's been proven to work offensively, defensively, special teams. Yeah. But it's a new system for these players, and so they're trying to find it. They do have some skilled players, as a Big 12 football team would. And so we know it's a matter of time before they start clicking and getting it. Hopefully it's down the road rather than against the Spartans. But no, we know it's a very challenging opponent, and we see what they do. We saw what they did last year at the previous school at Toledo, and see what they're trying to do this year, and we base our game plan off that.
What do you think is the source of their trouble so far this year?
Well, I think getting everyone on the same page. Not sometimes maybe things aren't timed up properly, or motions, or throws, or maybe there's sometimes receivers are open and not completing the ball. Different things that add up that are drive killers from the offensive standpoint. And to be an effective football team, which is where we're certainly aiming ourselves, is we want to eliminate those drive killers.
Well, talk about the quarterback position. They've used two different quarterbacks this year. In the last game against TCU, they were rotating in and out. Joel Lanning and Jacob Park. What makes them different? What's unique about each of them?
Joel Lanning's about a 6'2 guy, athletic. He can make plays. You see him tuck the ball and run it sometimes. You see him be able to throw the ball on the run as well. And he has a good knack for their zone read, motion, fly sweep type of offense. Number 10, Jacob comes in, and he's probably more of a pocket passer, but throws a very accurate, catchable ball. I've seen him. He stepped in the University of Iowa game and against pressure and a really good defense in Big Ten power Iowa, and made some nice throws down the field, some completions. So we know we've got to get ready for both guys.
Well, and it seems as though they have some very good receivers to throw too. Now, how they incorporate that hasn't really been clicking so far, but they do have a good group of receivers.
Right, and at different times they've isolated defensive backs, whether it's TCU's or Iowa's or Northern Iowa's, and made some nice big plays, throwing the ball up to those guys who can go get it. And they've got a good passing game, but as you mentioned, they haven't quite been clicking yet.
Well, and then on the defensive side, it's interesting to look at. Opponents are rushing for very good chunks of yards against them, over 200 yards per game. Now, they have played a couple of really good teams as well. The numbers may be skewed, but they themselves are only averaging 105 on the ground. So that differential, really a big part of what's going on and what's going wrong for them.
Yeah, correct. And as we talk about, even in our world, San Jose State football, the rushing, winning the battle of the trenches is so important of who we are, and they've been on the wrong end of that against three good opponents, as you mentioned. Yeah. Northern Iowa is an FCS playoff team, University of Iowa, a Rose Bowl team, very good as well. And so, we TCU, we know what they've done on a national scale as well. So they've played good opponents, and they've been tested.
Well, Coach, it is the final non-conference game of the year. Do you prefer to have the first four games be the non-conference, get that out of the way with, and just go into conference play, or do you like to have it staggered?
No, I would prefer, go with the four non-conference games and work out all your kinks, if you will, prior to getting in conference play. And they're very important. Every game's important, as we know, as you try and get to that 6 or beyond win level, so you can play postseason football. But I think it's good. You work that out, and then head into conference really with your best football yet to be played.
All right, that's San Jose State head coach Ron Carragher on the road this week at Iowa State. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Justin.
Take another break here on Spartan Sports Report. More to come after this.
The 2016 Nissan Altima. An IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus. With forward emergency braking that could stop for you. Take on sudden stops. Get to your local Nissan store today and save up to $4,250 on Altima, or get a low $129 per month lease on Sentra. Get to Nissan, proud partner of the San Jose State Spartans.
Playing high school and college basketball taught me the value of teamwork while learning leadership and problem-solving skills. Sports are an excellent way for kids to prepare for the real world, as well as the importance of staying physically fit. I use these skills every day in my job as an officer with the San Jose Police Department. Being a police officer allows me to use what I have learned while serving my community.
View job opportunities and apply at sjpdu.com. That's sjpdyu.com.
Welcome back here on Spartan Sports Report. That does it for this week's episode. Once again, San Jose State on the road this week against the Iowa State Cyclones. That game this Saturday, kickoff time 11 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Pacific. Yeah, it's early. Wake up with us at 8:30 a.m. for the radio pregame show on 1590 a.m. KLIV and the Spartan Radio Network. That does it for this week's episode. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.